We're back for another lecture today. It's the 25th of November, and today we're going to be having a special lecture purely focusing on the anatomy and physiology assignment, which is due in on the 7th. Some of you have contacted me just asking for me to further explain what exactly you need to do. First, can I point out that 12 of you have already submitted the posters, so it means that you can access your posters from Teams relatively easily in order for you to fulfill this assignment brief. So let's get cracking. So the structure of the lecture today is I will go through the anatomy and physiology assignment due in the 7th of December. With the information gathered from your posters, you are going to record yourself presenting your work on your phones or through the computer, much like I'm doing here now. You do not need to be in the recording, just your voice talking through the poster you have made and how the information gained about energy systems can be linked with your sport. Just a brief overview to remind you guys, what the actual assignment brief is. If you were to log into Teams, go onto your assignment, you would read the following. You must create and deliver a presentation on different energy systems and how they work within your sport. You must include the aerobic energy system, the lactic acid energy system, and the phosphocreatine energy system. So I expect in your posters you should have already defined those areas. So you've written about the aerobic system, the lactic acid system, and the phosphocreatine system. If you can't remember which of those they are, I've put a little picture next to them, just saying, the phosphocreatine system is used predominantly in sprinting. It's the first sort of 0 to 3 seconds onwards. Then you've got the glycolytic or lactic acid system that normally happens with like 400 meters, so things lasting, about a minute to a minute and a half. And then you've got the aerobic system. So anything after 2 minutes, the aerobic system really is the predominant energy pathway. And that's, when you think of aerobics, you traditionally think of, unlimited time, marathon running, that type of stuff. So once you define those things, you're going to talk about the fuels used in each of those systems. So what's the fuels used in the aerobic system? A lactic acid system and phosphocreatine system. So again, in aerobic systems, you're going to use oxygen as your major fuel source. Lactic acid, you're going to use glycogen in the muscles, and phosphocreatine, the creatine kinase, would be used in order to create that energy. Byproducts and recovery time. Well, if you can run forever, the aerobic system doesn't really have any recovery time. The byproducts wouldn't really be that great. It might be a little bit of carbon dioxide. You're looking at the lactic acid and the phosphocreatine system being acidosis in the muscles, and a lack of creatine kinase in order to sort of propel that phosphogen creatine system. Once you define those things, you must also describe how the energy system works together to provide a continuous supply of energy during a training session. So we don't actually live in, if you're a weightlifter, you don't predominantly live in the phosphocreatine system. Obviously, when you drop the bar, you're going to be a bit out of breath, so you're going to be moving from phosphocreatine to glycolytic, and then as you're recovering into that aerobic state. But I'll go into more detail shortly. So again, I'm just going to re-emphasize that you need to define the aerobic, the lactic acid, and the phosphocreatine energy systems. You must also discuss the fuels used, so the amount of ATP released, the byproducts, and the recovery time. More importantly, you must also describe how the energy systems work together to provide a continuous supply of energy during exercise. I'm going to go through pretty much a step-by-step of what I expect you to do once you've got your poster. So, when you've got your poster out in front of you, you're going to take your phone and you are going to record your poster and you are going to speak while you are recording it. It would look like this. So you would say, energy systems for sport. For example, hello, my name is Becky Bainbridge and I'm a 79 sports mentoring student. My presentation is about energy systems and how it relates to my sport as well as other sports athletes. You might want to start off by saying things like, defining the energy systems. So it clearly states here that Becky's going to talk about the main energy systems. So she would say the three main energy systems that convert chemical fuel to energy are the creatine phosphate system, And then she would go and talk about the creatine phosphate system. She would read the information that is right here. She'd read that off. Once she's done that, she'll then talk about the next energy system, which would be the lactic acid energy system. And she would say the lactic energy system is used in high intensity exercise, and she would carry on describing that. She'd also provide sporting examples for both. So she's provided sporting examples here and sporting examples here. Once she's spoken about those two areas, she's going to move on and she's going to speak about the aerobic energy system. And she might even mention this really interesting stuff about the mitochondria here. Once she's done that, once she's defined those areas, she then might talk about what exactly is ATP, and she would read it from the poster. She'd then talk about chemical fuel. And then she might say, this information that I obtained was from Ross and Wilson, Anatomy and Physiology. Once she's done that, what she would do then is talk about how it actually applies to her sport. So, Becky is a golfer, and she might say, in my sport, golf, I spend most of my time in the oxidative or aerobic energy system because I'm recovering, I'm walking to my next shot. When I walk around the golf course, I'm predominantly aerobic, but I move into my ATP PC, so that's a phosphocreatine energy system when I hit the ball explosively. She might say, I don't spend all my time in the ATP system. I might make that shot, be out of breath for a very brief period once I've made that shot, and then quickly move into the oxidative system and recover while I'm walking to that next shot. Guys, I hope this information's been clear and that you understand exactly what I'm asking you guys to do. I'll refresh one more time. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your phones out, you're going to record your poster, you're going to talk it through, you're going to explain how it relates to your sport, and you're going to be using the information that I provided here for you to help you actually meet that criteria. Once you've done that, all you do is you upload that video onto Teams. So you can upload that video like you uploaded all your other documents, your photos and things. You can upload your video onto Teams. I'm not looking to see your faces. All I'm looking is a recording of that poster presentation with you voicing over that presentation. If you have any questions, okay, you can ask me when we're having our group meeting at 4 o'clock today. Remember, it's compulsory. Or you could message me after 4 p.m. through Teams. Hope it all goes well. I'm there for you. All the best.